Hey, I'm Fedor. I'm a photographer currently based in Berlin, and in this video I want to talk about photography composition. But wait, something's wrong here. And that's the composition, of course. I will clean up everything, make it a lot better, and then we will continue. Okay, so that's a lot better now. So what I want to focus on in this video is on the complete understanding of the composition. And this is very important because of course you can follow rule of thirds, you can do static or dynamic compositions, but you need to understand how to actually make better images and how to bring the viewer's attention to the main point of your pictures. And for me, the solution came from outside of photography. When I went to different galleries and looked at paintings, I realized that every detail in the great paintings is important. It's actually a symbol that represents something or helps to show the main idea of the painting. So for example, still lifes or portrait paintings usually have many different details that represent some symbol or help to show the character of the person portrayed. So as a beginner, I often went out on the streets to take some pictures, some street photography, and probably many beginners do that because it's easy, you take a camera, go out, start taking pictures. And my main problem was that I didn't know how to focus on little things, on the details on the streets. And I photographed everything as a whole. For example, I've seen a beautiful building and I took a picture of the whole building. And that was the main problem, that there's probably some beautiful window, some parts of the architectural elements, some balcony with hanging clothes or beautiful shadow on the wall. And then instead of photographing some of these, I actually took pictures of everything, and then it looked like Google Street View. And that's not good, that doesn't really work, because the pictures looked actually pointless. And I got some of these pictures, collected them, and then decided to post-process for this video, to show exactly what can be improved on these photographs, to actually make them more centered and with a better focus point. So let's look at these images, and then I will show you what I decided to remove from there to make them actually look better. Here is our first example. This is a picture that I took in 2017. For me, it's hard to say what I really wanted to photograph here. Probably that was the shadow on the other side of the street, but I had a lot of clutter on the foreground. And also this distracting street sign on the right side, some half of a person, some cars in front, yeah. And to fix all of that, I decided to crop the picture, make the shadows darker, and later I decided to paint the cars black and make them even darker, since they look ugly and I don't like cars at all. And here you can see before and after. And now let's proceed to the next image. And here is a bit newer example. This image I took about a year ago, and I wanted to go for some isolated and maybe a bit mysterious look. It's not a masterpiece, of course, but I realized when post-processing that graffiti and these plates on the walls are not really helping to the shot. So I just removed them completely, as well as the lights on the background. And then I changed the light itself a bit, making the wall slightly darker and the portrait a bit brighter to shift the attention towards it. So I think that made overall this picture a lot better and more centered. And here is one more image. In this one I wanted to photograph the cabin on the other side of the lake. And again, the houses on the sides created a look like this is a whole village, but I wanted to show this single cabin on the other side. So I removed the other buildings using a healing brush, and then I kept only the cabin. And now it's your turn. Look closer at this image and decide what would you remove here. So here's what I changed on this image. I decided to remove the street signs on the building, and on the left side I removed the street lamp, which is very important because usually when you have something on the edge of the frame, it's either should be intentionally or remove it completely, especially if it's like here in front of some sky background which is quite plain, and then it takes a lot of attention and it doesn't help to show the idea of the shot. And later I decided to remove the people and the balloon. I moved it slightly to the side to put it in line with hand. This I did quite intuitively, just because it looks a bit better when it's on the line. Of course, this is not the best way to do photography. The best is to actually take perfect images on the place. And to do that, you can try to walk around, find the right angle, come closer to your subject, always try to focus only on that subject and place it in the biggest part of the frame. Or if you take pictures from far away, then try to include less of details around. Try to find plain backgrounds that will only take attention from your main point. This is for the first year or two. Later you might create more complex compositions, but at first try to not include bright light behind your subject, vibrant colors, like for example if you want to photograph a bicycle in front of a fast food restaurant. This is not the best idea because if you have some bright flashy logo on the background, it will take attention completely from what you wanted to photograph. At first you can use open aperture to blur out background, like I do right here. If you try to choose the right angle, you will have to work more towards the compositional skills. And when you blur background, you simply have me in front of blurred background, and that's like 2 layers of composition instead of multiple ones on more complex compositions. But if you're starting out, it's better to start from simple things and then continue to the more complex ones. And the last tip, don't try to show all of the details in the frame, like for example in the shadows. It's always, as I said in this video, better to focus on the main point of the composition. And sometimes people try to show everything in the shadows, for example. They try to pull up shadows to 100, make everything as bright as possible to show all of the little details somewhere, I don't know, under a bridge. The shadows can be used as a great artistic tool. You can add some mystery to images, and I wish you a lot of fun trying this out. When taking pictures and thinking about your composition, try to ask yourself, do I need all of these details in the frame? And if you don't need something, just remove it. Try to crop it out, choose a different angle, or remove it in Photoshop using healing brush or stamp. Your pictures will get a lot better once you remove everything out. Here I'll leave a few more before and after examples, and thank you again for watching. Hit like, subscribe, and see you in about 1 week.